I have a question here asking how to prevent a package from updating. Basically, something like you have a kernel installed, you do an update, you go to reboot and your system won't reboot or something won't reboot. Basically, the kernel update has messed up your system. And we want to see how can we prevent that from updating automatically. All right, I'm dealing mostly with Centos and Red Hat based systems. So this is going to be any system that's RPM based. Centos, Red Hat, Fedora, Springdale Linux, AlmaLinux, and the upcoming Ropkey Linux. Most times when you want to update your system, you go in and you do a DNF update or upgrade. I'll stick with update. The update will tell you what packages are available and the versions that are going to be upgraded. If I scroll through here, I can see there's a kernel update that'll take me up to 4.18. Right now I have 4.18-240.15, and it wants to take me up to .22. Now, if I didn't want to update that kernel package, the DNF-X can tell it what package I want to exclude. And it'll go through again, it'll search for updates. But you see that the kernel package is no longer listed here. Now the problem is there's kernel core and kernel modules that'll upgrade to the 22 version. So to get around that, instead of just using the kernel, you would add a wildcard. So that means anything with kernel in the beginning, it's going to skip over that. So when we go back and list, we see that nothing's going to be upgraded that has kernel at the beginning of it. And this is true for any other system. On Red Hat based systems, you can exclude these packages by editing the yum.conf in your CentOS 7 based system or dnf.conf in your CentOS 8 systems. So I've got a CentOS 7 system here, which runs yum. If I do a yum I tell it to check for updates for the kernel, there's a kernel update that's available here. But if I did not want that installed, and I didn't want to remember to use the -x all the time, I could just modify the yum.conf file. In the yum.conf file, you can add an exclude line. Now, if you add more than one exclude line, yum is only going to look at the last exclude line that you have. So keep everything on one line. When you go to do the yum update or upgrade, let's say you're not doing it, it's either automatic or someone else is doing the update. And when I scroll back up here, you can see there's no kernel files listed here. So that'll just upgrade everything else, but skip over what we added there to the exclude line. And it works the same on a Centos box. The only difference is it's a DNF comp that you have to add. I'm sorry, edit. You can also use the check update command. I'm telling it to check for any updates for the kernel. And it comes and tells me there's no kernel updates because we added it to the dnf.conf file. Now, if you just want to block a few packages, that's fine, just adding them to the conf file. But if you have a major list of conf files, there's another option that you can use called the version lock. If you'll just search for version lock in your repository, on a Red Hat system, it's a Python plugin that you use. So you would need to install that plugin. And once it's installed, it's just an option that you add to DNF. The man page for the version lock command can be found by typing man dnf version lock. That'll give you the command and the options that are available. The options that we're looking at are add, exclude, list, delete, and clear. But you can add a list of packages that you want to exclude, and that will be stored, and you don't have to re-enter it all the time. You can also delete a package that's been added with the delete command. If you want to remove all the version lock entries, you would use the clear command. I'm going to do a list on this one, and it says it's got a version lock for the check command. If I wanted to delete that and allow the check command to be updated, I would do a version lock delete with that whole string that's listed there. And it tells me it deleted the version lock. So like on the other systems, we were we were blocking the kernel updates. So we could do a version lock and we can add kernel. And it'll tell you all the packages that it's putting a version lock on. So it's going to stay at this version for all of these packages. And if I did the same for a Nginx, for example, it would do a version lock on any package for Nginx there. Now on your CentOS base 7 systems, when you do the yum search, the package name is different, but the commands are the same. I believe I already have it installed here, so I do up a yum. If I don't have anything there, I could do an add. And it tells me it's going to lock to these versions, which are the currently installed versions. So you could do version locks on any package on the system. And remember, we're talking about RPM-based systems that use yum and DNF. If you're trying to do it on an Ubuntu Debian type system, they have a different way of doing that, but I don't run those types of systems. Thank you for watching. Send me an email, subscribe and like. See you next time.